Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. First of all, I want to thank all of you who were kind enough to wish me Rosh Hashanah New Year's greetings. I would love to respond to all of you, but I figured it would be best to do a group reply. So happy Jewish New Year's to all of you. It's the year 5786 in the Hebrew calendar. So that's kind of interesting. But anyway, this is actually how I keep track of my mother's age, because she's 86. And I always know whatever age she is, the Rosh Hashanah that year is going to catch up, because in a few months she's going to be 87 and she'll be out of sync. And she won't object to my sharing her age, because she already did it on the video in which she appeared with me. So a healthy and happy and prosperous Jewish New Year's to all of you. However, that's not what this is about. What this is about is the psychotic message I got. My New Year's greetings from a Bach wacko. Oh, the Bach wackos. I've actually come to the conclusion that they are probably the looniest batch of classical music people out there, which really is a shame, because Bach, as you know, was a marvelous composer, and most of the people who enjoy him are like really nice people. But there is a Bach lunatic fringe, and who would have thought that they would be coming out of the woodwork? So this is what happened, and you're going to just be fascinated, I'm sure, and possibly horrified, as I was actually. I made a video. I've made some Bach videos which have been controversial. One was my Bach problem, where I talked about how I don't love everything that he wrote, and that caused hysteria, because for some people he can do no wrong, and the reaction I got was either outrage, how dare I say that about the deity of all music, or there was the condescending, oh, you poor little child, what can I do, you sad musicless waif, to try and help you, enjoy this body of work that's just beyond you. It's sympathy like that you don't need, right? I mean, really. So that was the reaction to that. But then I also did a video on works that I didn't get until I heard specific performances, which I think is a very, very interesting thing. In fact, I'm going to do some more of those, because I'd sort of forgotten about that series, and we only did 3 of them. So I think I should do some more of them, because I think it's a very worthwhile issue to explore, how our own experiences and prejudices and history of music and preferences, may serve as a barrier to enjoyment of music, which many others enjoy and which we can acknowledge is great music, but not always for us. I mean, that's who could argue with that? Well, people can. And one of the things I did one of those videos about was the St. Matthew Passion, which took me a great deal of time to begin to enjoy. I'd always respected the thing. I mean, it's like a monolith, right? But to actually seek it out and want to listen to it and enjoy listening to it, well, that was a separate thing. So I talked about how, I'd always kind of known it, and I had these experiences in my childhood that turned me off to the story, and things that were material to my enjoyment, until I heard the Herravega recording in 1985 on Harmonia Mundi, which I still think is absolutely glorious. I really do. That was what it was about. And the interesting thing about this video is that it was really a wholly positive outcome. The story has a happy ending. I begin to enjoy the St. Matthew Passion. I mean, it's a story that says that you should listen to it, that you should get to know works that you may find difficult. So there's really, I think, very little to criticize about what happens in this particular video. I mean, there's lots of things to criticize in videos that I do. I know that. I mean, everybody has their critical faculty, and sometimes I just like to stir the pot. So yeah, okay, that's fair. But this was one of those videos that I thought had a really nice ending. I really did. Well, as my Rosh Hashanah greeting from the Bach nut, I got the following. the following from somebody whose screen name is One Jesus, Two Music, Three Duke. I have no idea what that means, but you know when your name is One Jesus, it's probably a problem, unless, of course, you come from the Latin American world where Jesus is a very common first name. Otherwise, it could be a little bit, the comment will explain what I'm talking about. You ready? This person writes, Bach was not just a severe man. Are you serious? I don't think I said he was only a severe man, but that's okay. Seems like you still have a ways to go in understanding him. Bach loved to teach children. He enjoyed brandy. He enjoyed a walk in the woods and a pipe to smoke. He was very rigorous in matters of theology and music, and that rigor led to what he really wanted. The joy of the gospel being heard and felt and even seen, all caps, by his listeners. We can joke about the Jewish part all we want, but unless you become a Christian, you will never fully understand why Bach is the best human being of all time. He's obviously the best musician already. Oi! Oh my! Well, as you can tell, these are the words of a true fanatic. Fanatic because A, the person knows what Bach wanted and thought and felt, having, I presume, never known Bach in real life. He's already been deified, and the deity has spoken to this person who has discovered the one true path and is the disciple who is able to interpret what the deity is actually saying. So we already know that this person is just a loon. We know that, right? But then the business about, unless you're a Christian, you can't understand Bach? Well, I know a lot of people, first of all, who are not Christians and who really understand Bach awfully well, number one. Number two, I know a lot of people who are Christians and who don't especially care for Bach, which is also perfectly fine. And this business, when somebody makes a statement, a categorical statement, like Bach is the best human being of all time, Bach himself would take great issue with that, I suspect, because anybody with a shred of humility, never mind sanity, we're just talking humility, and let's say sanity, would have a hard time digesting that claim about themselves. And of course, the greatest musician of all time already. Well, what is the point in even making a statement like that? It's an undemonstrable, unrefutable, pointless thing to say, because everybody is going to have their own favorites, and Western civilization has not awarded Bach greatest musician of all time, however much he has been beatified in the quasi-musical community. You know what this reminds me of, actually? It reminds me of that episode of MASH. Remember when Radar wants to, what's he trying to do? He's trying to impress a girl or something's happening. And so they tell him all he has to say is, Bach. As long as you worship Bach, everyone is going to think that you know something, that you're above and beyond the normal realm of mortal men. And so he runs around the camp going, Bach. I wonder if you guys remember that. It was a very funny episode. And it was very true. It turns out it's truer than we probably wish. There are lots of people whose self-worth and whose self-image is dependent on viewing Bach. Of all people, it just seems to me that, what can I say? There's no reason to really go into it in any more detail. The comment speaks for itself, doesn't it? But it does serve, I think, and it's why do I read these things? Why do I even pay attention to these people? I do it because I believe that music and classical music, and yes, Bach, should be part of a healthy diet. My actual diet is anything but healthy. You all know that. We're not talking about real diets, but your musical diet, your cultural diet. It should be something which is, well, if not morally uplifting or elevating in any way, it should be something that gives you pleasure, that makes you feel good, that helps to create enhance your life, create a sense of balance and camaraderie with all of you. That gives us, a sense maybe of purpose, a joy in discovery. I mean, there's so many positive qualities about this journey that we're taking together and discovering and talking about the wonders and fabulousness of classical music. But there is also a darker side. There is a darker side to everything. There is fanaticism. There is ridiculous excess. There is this need to look down and belittle others, whose opinions are different from your own. There are all of these things, and that's part of this too. And unfortunately, our hobbies and our passions can go awry. They really can. And I think this is just a classic example of that happening. And so I want to share it with you because I want also newcomers to classical music, people who don't know it, people who encounter this level of wackiness, of bigotry. It's bigotry. I mean, what do we say? It's bigotry. It's craziness. In the name of Bach. That's the thing. All in the name of Bach. Yep, there it is. Does that do him justice? Assuming, him with a capital H, if that's how you feel about him. It's sad. It's sad. It's pathetic. And I just think that, I scratch my head sometimes and wonder whether or not this is this is really sometimes a healthy thing. When people use it for this purpose, it's not. But as I think it's very clear, this has nothing to do with music. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing to do with the experience of music, the joy of music. Remember, it has more to do with Bach wanting people to see the gospel. Well, that's not a musical thing, is it? There's nothing musical about that. And so, I just wanted to share that with you for what it's worth and let you all know that I stand against this sort of thing. I really do. It's not just that it's offensive. It is. It's terribly offensive. I'm going to turn this into the YouTube, people for commentary, for hate speech and whatnot. I mean, that goes without saying. But you have to speak out against it. Because I do defend classical music. I do believe in its essential goodness and purity and value and wonderfulness. And this just degrades the whole thing. It really, really does. So there you go. That's my position, and I'm sticking to it. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.